All right. Hello, everyone. As Brittany mentioned, my name is Meredith Medlin-Dooley. I'm the Senior Director for Business Education Programs here at AOF. And I'm really excited to be here today to celebrate the commitment that each of you is making to your business just by showing up with us today. It's really important to take the time to invest in knowledge and strategic networks that could benefit your companies. So I applaud you for making that choice to make that investment today. And I promise you'll be glad that you did. As Brittany mentioned, Accion Opportunity Fund, or AOF, is committed to supporting entrepreneurs in achieving their goals. We believe that small business owners, specifically women, immigrants, and people of color, are the experts in their own lives and journeys. And our team here at AOF is simply here to provide extra resources to help you get where you're already going. So that being said, though, we know that resources can often be hard to find, especially for entrepreneurs from historically underserved backgrounds. As I'm sure everybody on the line knows, women in America, and more specifically women of color, are starting and growing businesses faster than any other group in the entire country. Yet these women entrepreneurs only receive a tiny portion of the resources and funding provided to American businesses each year. That is a massive inequity that simply has to change. AOF has provided access to affordable capital to these and other underserved groups for about 30 years now. And our team has been offering complimentary, customized one-on-one business coaching for about a year and a half. We've seen an overwhelming interest in that really important person-to-person connection that can help take a business to the next level. We're committed to providing that connectivity, that community of supporters and advisors to as many business owners as we can. And that's why we're here today. AOF has built an online coaching hub that allows business owners like you to connect with expert coaches, the vast majority of whom are women of color themselves, on all sorts of business topics. And thanks to our philanthropic partners, AOF is able to provide this one-on-one coaching at absolutely no cost to the business owner. We are so grateful to the many funders who support our ability to expand these types of opportunities, including Fifth Third Bank, the Coca-Cola Foundation, Wells Fargo, and Global Atlantic Financial Group. We are celebrating the launch of this coaching hub today, but that's not all we're here to do. Like Brittany said, this afternoon, we're going to talk about the importance of the small business ecosystem, strategic tactics for how you can build a community around your business, and a few key takeaway ideas for integrating one-on-one coaching into your growth plans. And the most exciting part of today's discussion is that you're going to meet 6 of the most impressive and passionate and talented small business coaches in the country. AOF is thrilled to engage with these women who are joining me here that you're about to meet, and we're so grateful for their willingness to partner with us as we seek to serve more entrepreneurs with this best-in-class business coaching. All right, that's enough from me. I'm going to turn things back over to Brittany Richardson once again so we can meet our coaches.
Thanks so much, Meredith. I don't think I could have said it better myself. We are so excited to have all of you wonderful business coaches here today. So we're going to jump into the intro so everyone can get a chance to learn a little more about you. So I'll intro each coach, but at the end, I do have a fun fact question for each of you. So mull this over. Which powerful woman from any time in history would you love to grab a drink with? So first, we're going to kick it off with Nicole Lashae Ben. Hello. Nicole is the CEO of Thrive in Design and is a design and sales strategist. I'm looking at you, product-based people. Over the last decade, she has worked with many interior product companies to generate millions of dollars in revenue and earn over 24 sales awards. Through all of her business endeavors, there have always been one common theme: creating and launching innovative ideas and sales strategies through the lens of design thinking. She's been able to take a human-centered approach to business and strategy and teach other entrepreneurs to do the same. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, Nicole, the moment we're all waiting for, what powerful woman in history would you love to grab a drink with?
Definitely Madam C.J. Walker, the first Black woman millionaire in America. She's a pioneer in her industry. I just need to pick her brain about all the things, you know?
Yes, that's a wonderful answer. Agreed. Please hit me up after you talk to her.
Okay.
Some tips. All right. Thank you, Nicole. So excited to have you here. And next we have Joy M. Hutton. Joy is a native of Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to all of my Midwesterners. I see you in the chat. But she has made Houston, Texas her second home. Joy is the founder of Joy of Consulting, a management consulting firm and On the Go Glam, an on-demand platform that delivers beauty services to men and women in their comfort of their home, office, or hotel. Sounds wonderful. Joy serves on a number of small business councils and works with organizations that develop female entrepreneurs. Her personal development continues with being a part of Leadership Houston, Class 36, and the inaugural class of Leadership ISD. Joy was honored by the City of Houston for her leadership and entrepreneurship, and February 4th, 2020 was named Joy M. Hutton Day. In honor of this day, she launched the Lead Hership Fund, a micro grant fund for female entrepreneurs. Hi, Joy.
Hello, hello, and hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I didn't see any Chicago people in the chat, so I'm kind of sad. I saw you said Midwesterners, but where are my Chicago people? But so glad. Okay, Anna says she's from Chicago. There's Brandy. Okay, we have some people. All right. So am I answering the same question? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I would have to say RBG, or we know her as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, definitely a pioneer. I would love to sit down with, would have loved to sit down with. Maybe she'll visit me in my dreams. But she, I mean, just a powerful, powerful woman. And kind of when I think of someone who has impacted change and walks the talk, that is someone that definitely does it. So I would love to sit down and have dinner with her.
Yes, that's wonderful. I love that. Yes, and hopefully she visits you, in your dreams. Please share that information.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have Elaine Lou Cartas. Hi, Elaine.
Hi.
Elaine is a business and career coach for women of color and allies, serving over 300 clients in 23 countries. Elaine specializes in helping women of color and allies to pivot their businesses and careers to aligned and purposeful lifestyle and legacy. Elaine has over a decade of experience as a political grassroots organizer and nonprofit fundraiser. One of her proudest accomplishments was raising $1 million in student scholarships in only 6 months, which provided over 200 scholarships. Today, she is the founder of Color Your Dreams Movement, an initiative to inspire and support women of color and allies to create their dream business, career, and life. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Also, who feels seen? Like, do you see how diverse, like, these incredible women of color and allies, like, if you feel seen, type it in the chat. Because usually it's like bland and boring when I'm on events, but it is diverse in here. So if you feel seen, type it in the chat. And in terms of like women in history, so just gonna warn you, I'm gonna get a little vulnerable and emotional. So you don't know her, but I know her, and that would be my grandmother. And I say that because she just passed last year, but I want to meet her like around my age. I don't know if anyone's watched The Adam Project in Netflix. If you haven't, go watch it. But like, I want to meet that person because she has done so much for our family. Like, cheers to the matriarchs in our family. Pretty sure you guys all feel the same way.
I love that. And what a wonderful testament to the powerful women who are in our lives as well. So that's great. Thank you, Elaine. All right, next we have Dee Clemmons, the Honorable Dee Clemmons. Dee is a strategic, innovative CEO of DCL Public-Private Solutions Group and a certified coach with over 29 years of experience as an entrepreneur. She has a proven track record of building successful businesses. Dee's experience as a full-time entrepreneur, lecturer, public speaker, and leader has helped define her dynamic coaching style. She is data-driven, culture-embracing leader, and a founder of a diverse platform of businesses. She leverages data and strategic growth processes to deliver positive and meaningful results. Dee has a strong passion for empowering minority women to gain financial independence through entrepreneurship. Yay! Thrilled to have you here, Dee.
Thank you, Brittany, for the introduction, and hello to everyone out there in webinar land. I'm so excited to be able to be a part of this coaching hub, and the person that I would have a drink with is none other than Harriet Tubman. I want to sit down with that soldier and talk to her about how she escaped slavery and how she went back to make sure that others were free. And that is what I do when I coach. I know that I escaped being poor, broke, and disgusted through entrepreneurship, and it is my calling to go back and rescue everybody else.
Oh, I love that. That is so wonderful. Oh my goodness, these answers, they're just, they're giving me so much life. All right, thank you, Dee. So happy to have you. Next, we have Viridiana Ponce. Viri, hi. Viri is the CEO of VP Consulting, and she helps entrepreneurs and small businesses formalize, launch, and grow their businesses. I think that's something we can all relate to here. Viri has provided training, coaching, and consulting services in both English and Spanish to over 1,000 entrepreneurs since 2014. She supports clients in developing financial projections, managing finances, accessing capital, and strengthening their food operations. She draws on 15 years of accounting, finance, food, and entrepreneurial experience, and her mission is to empower, enrich, and educate her community. Today, the majority of VP Consulting's clients are Latina entrepreneurs and food operators. Hi, Viri, welcome.
Hola, hi everybody. So who would I have a drink with? I'm gonna say Celia Cruz. She is a salsa icon, and something that I really loved about her is that she just radiated positivity and so much energy, and she broke barriers, and we know all of like the good part of her, but there was so much hard work behind that. And so I'd love to know, like, what was that source of inspiration? What kept pushing her and motivating her throughout like 60 plus years of her career? And I'd love to have a drink and go out dancing with her, because I know that would be so much fun.
I love that. And thank you for sharing, because I had never heard of her before. So it's wonderful to learn new things too on this call. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have Kristen Herwitz. Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
Kristen is a business attorney committed to helping BIPOC, LGBTQIA+, and women entrepreneurs protect their work and themselves as their businesses and impact grow. She built her law practice on paying it forward 8 years ago, and she reinvests at least 10% of profits in organizations that support women and social justice. And she now offers DIY contract templates at a flat rate and transparent pricing for strategic legal advising services. We love that. Welcome, welcome, Kristen.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. And then let's see. There are a lot of women I would love to meet, but I'm going to have to go with Bell Hooks, who I know passed away in December. So technically I could have had an opportunity to have met her in theory, but I did not. And I think just as a social activist who explored the intersectionality of race, class, gender, and then capitalism, and how those kind of weave together to produce and perpetuate systems of oppression, it's just there's a lot there, coupled with the fact that she wrote so much about love. So I recently finished reading all about love. And one of my favorite quotes from that was, that the moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and others. And I really believe in that concept, that it starts within. And then when we are able to liberate and love ourselves, we are able to go ahead and spread that to the folks around us, both personally and in business. And of course, business is personal. So.
Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine if we had all of these women, not only the ones that we've talked about, but even the women on this call, the entrepreneurs and us, I think it's just a testament to how powerful everyone is on this call and how much we can accomplish together. And on that note, I'm going to intro us into our discussion topics. And this is what I'm really excited about. This is when all our coaches get a chance to give you kind of a sneak peek of their vast areas of expertise. But wanted to kind of tie in how we got here today to this idea of community and small business and what it means. You know, why is it so important? I think we've all heard the term, it takes a village. And I think that same idea applies to entrepreneurship in connection with this idea of community. Whether your community is your fellow entrepreneurs who are helping you through their stories and being a partner in that journey, or is it if it's an organization that provides resources, or if it's your very own business coach, each one of us does need that community to help us achieve our small business goals. And so that is what this is about. It's for you to find your community within these wonderful experienced women. So that's really enough for me. It is time to get down to the nitty gritty. So we're going to kick it off with Elaine. And one of Elaine's topics is marketing and social media. So Elaine, I would love to hear from you. How does social media / marketing fit into this idea of helping a small business build their community?
Yeah, so think of social, I'm pretty sure my wonderful co-colleagues here, my co-coaches would agree with me. Social media is just one aspect for it, right? It's really understanding holistically how social media fits in. And I just had a call with a client prior to this is, who is your target market? Who's your ideal clients? So for example, if you have a younger target demographic and maybe they're in their 20s, TikTok and Instagram might work, right? If it's something you're selling like a t-shirt, then it would make sense to use that type of social media. Or what if you have a career coaching business, something that's more professional, like it's a marketing agency, LinkedIn might work. But before you even choose, before you make assumptions, it's so important to ask for feedback, to do target market calls. And I'm not saying you just do it when you start. I do target market calls even with my returning clients every single quarter. And these are questions you should ask, like, what did you enjoy the most about working with me? What are your biggest challenge when it comes to this? Third, what have you enjoyed about this product or this service? Fourth, this is the hard part. So put ego aside and just ask, what feedback do you have for me that I could improve on? And if you ask that and you actually implement it, then you could have like a high referral and renewal business. So I have a 75% referral and renewal business. My clients find me through referrals, but they also find me on LinkedIn or Google, but they're constantly just paying attention and listening. And even when people find me as a referral, sure, they might meet me, but don't focus on just the transaction, focus on that long-term relationship. So I just closed a 5-figure deal right before this. She was a referral, and I was honestly like, my emotions were like, man, I write this newsletter every week. I don't think I should do it. It just takes so much time, but I love it. And then she told me, hey, I've been reading all of your emails. I was like, oh, then if I get 5-figure weeks like all the time, then I will continue writing emails, especially if I love it. But that's what's so important, is asking for feedback from your audience. But happy to have my other co-coaches like type in the chat what else they want to add to.
Wow, I think that's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that personal anecdote as well. It's just sometimes it can feel overwhelming. You're like going through the motions, you're doing the things, and then you don't know who's watching you in the background, who's inspired by that, and who's ready to jump in and take the next step. So thank you so much, Elaine. I think that's great. Okay, next we have Dee. Okay, so Dee, you have a variety of expertise in a lot of areas. So we're going to talk about certifications and procurement for our question. So whether it's, getting registered as or certified as a minority-owned business or woman-owned business or some other certification, how do you feel this venture helps small businesses grow their network or community?
I would say that I highly recommend and I endorse certifications for businesses that qualify. I think the primary goal is that you have to look at the services, look at the products that you're selling, know exactly what you're selling, and make a determination if you think that it is something that is going to qualify for certification. The beauty of it is that there's so many certification organizations out there that once you begin to apply, they can determine whether or not your business is a right fit for certification. One of the things that I would like to say is that when you are certified, it just puts you in a position to really be able to procure services or to sell your services to either large public organizations as well as the private entities. So you can go from, you know, the Fortune 500 companies to the government, and you should be able to look at both of those. But the main thing is that once you're certified, that's the key. I see so many organizations, so many businesses that are certified, and then they sit for years being certified. They spend that money every year to be recertified, and they do nothing with it. So I really want to make sure that I leave some tips today about once you're certified, how do you make sure that that certification works for you? You got to, first of all, have a goal for how you're going to represent your company and what you want to sell. So once that's clear, I want you to go into those certification organizations and network. Have a powerful networking system down pat. It's important that you meet someone that's in the certification network that you can look to as a mentor to your organization, to your business, to make sure that they can help you and guide you with who you need to meet. Now you're certified, you've got a mentor, you're going to the events. The next thing that I want you to do is to identify the procurement space that you want to be in and who's your potential buyer. For instance, once you're certified, you're networking, and then you know that your potential buyer is a janitorial service, or it's a company that needs cleaning services, or it's a company that's going to be buying paper. Whatever the service that you're going to be selling, the product that you're going to be selling, the service that you're going to be selling, identify who the buyer is in that certified network. And then you want to make sure that you're marketable, that you have the capabilities of fulfilling whatever they're buying. So take a look at the research and see who they're already buying those services or products from, and then try to scale up and make yourself marketable. So certification, I endorse, I recommend, but you got to have all those other things to go along with it.
Thank you so much, Dee. I think that's a great way to frame it, that, you know, you can get it, but you got to work it, you know? And I think as we listen to all these women coaches and everything talk about their topics of expertise, because you're only getting a sneak peek, think about if you're going to go on this journey, maybe booking a session with them because they are knowledgeable in these topics and can help you. Okay, so next we're going to move on to Kristen, and we've got legal advice, which I don't know about everyone else, but legal stuff, ooh, scary. So I think from you, I'd really love to hear, how can a small business owner find a trusted community of resources for legal advice? And then just to piggyback on that as well, is there a time when a business owner should, you know, seek formal legal advice versus when is it okay to kind of work within your network and learn from other business owners' experience?
So I wanted to step back for a second and say this is not legal advice. As a lawyer, you know, putting the disclaimers out there, setting those expectations clearly up front is something that is required of me, but also is a really good thing to think about for every business owner, because setting those communication policies, setting your expectations clearly up front with your clients and customers is going to make for a much better short-term and long-term relationship with anybody that you're working with. So when you are kind of getting started and you're looking for this trusted community of resources, I feel like legal is one of the harder ones for people to find, because a lot of times you've got these bigger law firms that are not really set up to serve small businesses. So you may be able to get in for, you know, initial free consult, but they don't give you something actionable. They don't really understand who you are, what you deal with on a day-to-day basis as a Black woman, a brown woman, a queer person, just a woman generally operating in the world, never mind these kind of intersectional layers too, and how those impact you as a business owner or the folks that you're serving. And so I think the most important thing is to find that community of people that do understand who you are, reach out to lawyers who maybe have one or multiple layers of identity that are similar to you, who can kind of really understand what it's like to be in your shoes and also have an understanding of what it is that you're trying to do in the world. And again, that's really hard, but ideally you can find someone, and this is what I try to do with my clients, where I act as like their outside general counsel. So you think of me as like kind of, I really don't love football, but the quarterback analogy works, where, you know, I'm kind of like running the play. Okay, you are looking to form a business entity. Does it make sense to do that right now, or wait? Are you launching your website first? Do we need to worry about website compliance first? Are you already accepting payments from clients? Do you need to look at getting your product named, trademarked, or make sure that someone else isn't already using that and having a trademark on it that could potentially lead to you having to give them all of the money that you've ever made on your product and put it in the trash because you just didn't do a basic trademark search? And so that's a lot of what I do, is kind of put people in touch with, you know, the trademark lawyer, the employment lawyer when they're looking to hire for the first time, so you can get that stuff done right. And then, of course, you know, I help with business setup as well as contracts. But I think in the early stages, as well as at each iteration, because our businesses are not stagnant, just like our lives, they are fluid and we shift. You know, a pandemic happens and suddenly everybody's on Zoom. We have to navigate how to run a business online now if you're running something in person before. And at any of those pivotal points, I think it's great. Like, I'm a big fan of crowdsourcing. Like, get the information from the folks that you know and trust. But before you actually act on it, before you kind of make a pivot, before you launch your business or form a business entity, but before you do that, talk to a lawyer. And if it's anything remotely financially related, including forming something like an LLC or corporation, you also want to talk to a CPA. So I feel like those are like the two kind of fundamental, tricky professional services that we all need in business that we like to avoid and put off as long as possible. And they're also the two spaces where if you do something kind of incorrectly on accident from the outset, it can cost you so much time, so much money, so much lost sleep, you know, in the long run, just because of an accidental mistake, versus getting that information up front so that you can be intentional about those choices that you're making at each point in business.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I love the way you broke it down. It's like, you're the quarterback. I don't know anything about football and I'm not going to embarrass you.
Yeah, me neither. I like really don't love the NFL. So I'm just
But I understood that analogy. Like, use your community, learn what you need to learn, but definitely go to a trusted professional resource before you take those big steps. So thank you so much, Kristen. All right. So next we have Viri. And Viri is going to be talking numbers. Ooh. Okay, another thing it can be nerve-wracking, right? It can be a little bit scary, but Viri, I'd love to hear from you. Why is it so important for entrepreneurs to discuss their numbers with people they trust?
Yeah. And Brittany, like you were saying, I feel like numbers or finances or budgets, they can be really scary, right? I don't know if anybody else, they feel like that. Share it in the chat if you do, but I've seen that a lot of my clients, they've got great products or great services and they're so good with, you know, creating their product. But when it comes to their numbers, it's an area that makes them nervous, or an area where they tend to shy away from reviewing, for example, their financial statements or putting off financial activities because we just don't know what the heck, you know, we're looking at or what we should look at. But what I've seen is that if we talk about them, if we review them, then we're going to figure out that we're not alone, right? We're not the only ones that feel like nervous or overwhelmed with our numbers. And I think that's really helpful to know that it's not only me, right? It's not only you. A lot of people feel this way. And then when you're able to work on them and, for example, create a budget, review the budget, understand what the budget is telling you, then you're able to find solutions. So just yesterday, one of my clients, she was at a farmer's market and she texted me a picture of her menu. And she wrote in the text, she wrote out, "No one bats an eye at the $5 price of the concha. She sells Mexican pastries." And that made me so happy because she was selling this pastry that is not only gorgeous, but it's so delicious. And she's got so much experience. She was underselling or underpricing it at $3. And so just on Monday, we talked about, you know, what goes into pricing, understanding what her costs were, and then also the value she was bringing. And so what that made her do was up the price to something that was, that was more fair for her. And she was so happy and she was so confident. And the fact that her clients she's like, no one even batted an eye, right? So more than anything, it gives us confidence when we are able to understand our costs, understand our margins, understand our prices. And so a lot of times my clients, after we break it down, we make it easy to understand, then they feel a relief, because I think we build it up in our head that it's much more complicated, right? And I found that we just need a little bit of guidance, right? I don't think that as entrepreneurs, we have to be CPAs. We just have to know enough of what our numbers mean, right? How we can use them. And so breaking it down, talking to someone, it's going to help you find solutions. It's going to help you price your items. It's going to help you make margins, to stop working so much, because sometimes our clients, my clients, they work so much and they're like, I'm always booked, or I'm constantly busy, but they're not growing. And it's because their margins are not enough. So talking with someone will also help you see, I think, even the value of what you're doing, talking through the prices, making you feel confident about what direction you should go with your business. So more than anything, I've gotten that feedback with my clients, is the relief and the confidence. So it's really important that we do talk to someone and that we do work on them, so we don't shy away from taking a look at our numbers.
I love that. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, your products, your services, your talent has value, and getting that confidence from someone who sees it from an outside perspective. I mean, a $5 delicious pastry, I'm paying it. She could probably go up, honestly. It sounds wonderful. So I love that.
Yes, she can.
Yeah. So I love that, and inspiring confidence in your numbers. It makes you feel confident when you go out and provide your services. Thank you so much, Vidi. All right, Joy, you're up next. And Joy, I remember from the very first time we talked, you talked a lot about helping people control the chaos, and it just like sticks in my head because it's a sticky phrase, And so how, in terms of when you work on HR and operations, how does a focus on that HR operations help a small business control the chaos? And maybe kind of piggybacking off of that, how can controlling the chaos maybe even build a better internal community for a small business?
Absolutely. So Vidi said one thing, and she said many things, but one of the things she said that kind of segues into what I am speaking about is scaling. And a lot of the times when we start a business, we have this grand idea and we don't have any systems in place. We're only thinking about us, my great idea, my website, my beautiful logo, all these things, but we're not thinking about all the systems that we have to have in place to make this business run. We're not thinking about the people that could help us, because we're pulling our hair out, talking about we're doing all these things by ourselves. And so what I do is try to help you manage the chaos of the people and the processes, and they cannot work without each other. So one of the things, somebody told me a long time ago, is say you have to plan your work and work your plan. We should not be working backwards. Before you even, put up a website, put out a logo, you should be thinking, one, who am I trying to reach? What are my goals for this business? Is anybody going to buy this product or service? Have you even talked to anyone about this being a viable product or service? And then you make a plan for how you're going to target this particular audience. A lot of the times we work backwards, and I know everybody thinks their baby is amazing, but you have to clothe that baby and feed that baby and nurture that baby. And you cannot do that with just saying my baby is cute, because everybody's baby is not cute. So I help you to make your baby cute by managing that chaos, maybe putting some prettier clothes on it or whatever. But, you have to have systems in place. And, a lot of times we're like, well, I can't afford it. So I talk you through, well, how can you afford help on a shoestring budget? Because you may not have that budget. There are free resources. There are low-cost resources where you can get people to help you in your business, interns. There are other resources specifically for women-owned businesses. So I talk you through that and then help you think outside of the box in terms of how you can manage your time better, because you don't have to be doing 80 things at once. And so, helping you put those systems in place. It could be something as simple as automating your finances through QuickBooks. That's a system. It could be scheduling meetings on Calendly. It could be making sure you're automating your invoices and people pay you first, not afterwards, for your services. So there are a lot of things that people don't think about where they're stressing themselves out by taking on all these tasks when they could be outsourcing it and helping you delegate too, if you do have people, because again, we don't want to let things go. We don't want to relinquish control. And so we have to let things go, trust people to do their job so that you can focus on working on your business, which is getting more business, and letting other people do the other tasks. So yeah, that is what I help people do, manage the chaos of the people and the processes.
I love that. And I think not every baby is cute in terms of business. Is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. You have to take care of your baby, and your business is your baby. I love that. Yes. Thank you, Joy.
You're welcome.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we have Nicole. And Nicole, one of your topics is business strategy in terms of sales and growth. And I feel like how many entrepreneurs, everybody wants to grow, right? We all want to grow. We all want to do more than we did before. And so I would love to hear from you. What are the ways a small business owner can maybe leverage their community to help them grow?
Yeah, when I saw this question, so many things went through my head, because when I think of growth, it could be so many things. It could be your sales, it could be your product or your service offering, it could be your network, it could be your skill set. It could be so many things, but I think in order to get clear on what you want to grow in, you have to be super clear about who your target audience is, like many of the other coaches said today, what product or service you're offering, and what does that problem solve? What value does that bring to the customer, right? And so when you're super clear on all those things, then you can think about, okay, how am I going to grow my sales? How am I going to grow my product or service offering, and what have you? So I think in getting that clarity too, you can get clear on how you're delivering your message to really tell others, right? So if it's your community, how will you tell those people what pain points you're solving and what value you're bringing? And then how will those people then go on to deliver that message to other people, right? So sometimes it might be making that messaging clear on your social media for what Elaine is doing, or sometimes it might be telling your friends and family what it is that you do so that they can take that forward and deliver your value. Another part of that might be partnerships, right? So how can you then partner with other established businesses to level up in your community to bring more brand awareness to your business? For me, I might use my podcast to ignite conversations within my community, right, to then lead to more contracts and more business. I also have a friend who owns a plant business, so she partners with other established non-competing businesses to do like pop-up shops to get more sales and brand awareness. So I think it could be so many different things, but first is getting clear on like, what is your product or your service? How does that solve a pain point? What value does it bring to your customer? And then, how will I tap into my community to then like grow my brand awareness and then convert that brand awareness to sales? So that's just like the tip of the iceberg, but that is what came to my mind when I saw that question.
I love that. I love talking about how you use your customer to spread your message. You're using your partnership to spread your message, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, you have to get clear on some of those things. And just in case anybody forgot, all of these wonderful business coaches on this call can help bring you clarity on those things. So definitely keep that in mind. And I know we're all I'm excited to sign up for a session. You know, I don't have business, but if I did, I would be signing up for a session. But I think it's time to turn it over to Daisha so that she can show us exactly how we can sign up for these sessions. And also after this, we'll go into the Q&A. So if you did have a question, go ahead and re-drop it in the chat so we can be sure to find it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And for you all, you know, if you enjoy the information that you receive, definitely please spread the love, share the emojis, just show excitement in the chat. These ladies gave us some amazing advice, and these are just samples. Wait until you guys get an actual session with them. So here's the really, really awesome part about being able to sign up for your first session with these amazing coaches. So you're going to head to aoffund.org, as the screen shows. You're going to head to the Coaching Hub. And so the website link for that is aoffund.org/program/AOF-business advising. And we will drop that link in the chat as well for everybody to be able to click. And the link will also go out in a follow-up survey as well, as the ladies mentioned. So as you scroll down and get to the page, you'll see that we have various aspects of business that you all can choose from. As a business owner, what am I interested in getting help with? Let's start with marketing and social media. I think that's definitely great. Maybe I have a plant business that I need to, partner up with some folks, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to get more customers. So as you click onto here, you'll see, again, it's marketing and social media, and you'll see exactly how this coaching session will happen. And so parentheses, you see Zoom. When you're ready, you're going to book this service. So click down at the bottom right, and you get to see all the amazing coaches that have expertise in this area of marketing and social media. So what you do is you will pick your select coach. So let's pick Elaine. And then once we click on her profile and page, you'll see the times that she is available for specific days. You'll click accordingly. And then after that, you'll just spend maybe about 2 minutes or so filling out information about yourself and your business. And this is to better help the coaches understand kind of where you are in your journey, in your process. And it's okay. Sometimes the baby is ugly and sometimes it's really, cute. But I promise you, even if it's just an idea, our amazing coaches can be able to help and guide and help you get to the next level. So once you do that, then you'll be able to confirm your booking. And you'll see that, you'll click to the right. And then once you're able to confirm that booking, you will receive confirmation via and text messages as well that the booking confirmation is made. And then there will also be some messages that will be sent out as well as time gets closer. So just a friendly reminder, you all, because there are so many amazing businesses and our coaches, they want to be able to speak to as many folks as possible. We just ask that, you sign up for your first session, right? You get the feedback from the coaches on what your next steps should be. And we ask that once you complete those next steps, along with that, survey, just saying, how is your experience? Then you'll be able to sign up with your next session as well. So with that being said, I think, Brittany, now is it time for a little bit more Q&A? I think folks may have some more specialized questions for these coaches.
Yes, thank you so much, Daisha. Yes, we are going to jump into this Q&A. Right before we do, because I always have an extra word, I'm actually going to drop a really cool graphic into the chat. So if you are excited, you want to be a part of the Coaching Hub, you're on the site right now in a different window, you're signing up for your session. In the spirit of this conversation about community, please share that you're participating in this with your community so that they can also get the opportunity to meet with these wonderful women. And so all you have to do is click on the image and you just save it, and you can share it on your social media or however you would like to kind of share this out and get the word out. Okay, so we do have some questions. So I'm gonna go through and then I'll just kind of pick someone to chat on it. Daisha, do you want to do the Q&A section?
Yes. So one really amazing question that came through is, what are some really, cool ways that you can get access to capital, right? So you're looking to start up that company, your ugly baby needs money, of course, to grow. And so I think I want to dedicate this question to Very. So Very, can you kind of help us understand, maybe some ways that entrepreneurs are overlooking when it comes to finding that capital?
Yeah, I will take that question. So once again, we're going to go back to the importance of knowing your numbers. You need to understand, or what is it that you need the funds for? So I would say, like, identify what do you need the money for, and identify how much money you need, because in that way you can start figuring out, where, different places that you can go to find this capital. I love working with my clients on financial projections, where we do just that. We identify, if they have a new project or they want to open up, let's say they've been doing a farmer's market, now they're ready to open up a bakery. We go through the exercise of listing out all of their startup expenses. So then we could start finding the money that they need. So I would say definitely work on your startup expenses, identify what you need the money for, and then have someone review that. As entrepreneurs, I feel like we're very optimistic, and sometimes we think we're going to spend less money, but then we're going to generate a lot more money. So I think working with a coach who's in your industry or who can review them would be really helpful, in knowing what the industry benchmarks are could be really helpful as well. And then from there, a couple of suggestions for where you can get funding. Our cities have different programs. So the economic development offices have different programs that you can search. I would say a lot of these, they want to make sure that your business is formalized, that you have a business license or you have a business plan and projection. So look in your city and search up like economic development office, look in your county as well. And then Accion also provides funding for clients, different sizes of loans. So I would say look at Accion. And then I'm also going to drop one of my favorite resources. They're mostly Bay Area, so in California, but they will update different loans and then different grants that are available. So look for, I would say, a combination of grants, loans, and then also crowdsourcing. So I'm going to add a couple of resources here in the chat as well. But I would say, work on your concept, work on your startup expenses and financial projections before applying to get capital.
I love it, Very. Thank you. And we can't wait for those gems to be dropped inside of the chat. Now, the next question, and I think this will kind of encompass a couple of the ones that I saw. So in regards to attracting more customers, social media, your website, Nicole, what are some tips or some ways that you can definitely, use those or have experience with those in order to grow your customer base?
Well, like echoing what Elaine said earlier, is really getting on the platforms that your audience is hanging out, right? So depending on who you're trying to reach, what age group they're on, what platform they're most using, get on that, right? I'm using LinkedIn mostly for my business because I'm targeting other corporations to sell my services. But LinkedIn might not be best if you're selling a product, like a physical product, right? So first it's like establishing who you're trying to reach, where they're hanging out, then getting on that platform, and then you're delivering content that speaks to the value or the transformation that your product or service delivers, right? So it's not like, okay, I'm selling this t-shirt, or okay, I'm selling whatever, but it's really showing in whatever form how you're going to transform their lives or give value to them through whatever it is that you're selling, because people are actually going to buy the experience. They're going to buy you as a brand or whatever it is that you're representing. They're not just going to be like, oh, I want that because it is what it is. You have to show them that transformation that you're giving them through the offerings that you have. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. But it could be broken down into so many different things based on if you're doing a product or a service and what platforms work best, if you're doing organic or paid or what have you. So there's so many different parts of that.
Love it. And, LinkedIn is my favorite social media, but I can't do, TikTok on LinkedIn, right? It just doesn't work, doesn't match. So another great question that I thought would be great for business owners, especially Kristen, I think you're the one that's going to just help us, get much clarity on this. So what are some ways that businesses can go from maybe like that side hustle all the way to now being a legit business?
It's a great question. And I think part of it is like, what legally does legit business mean? So at a minimum, if you just start doing business, technically you're already operating as a sole proprietor. So doing business meaning like you put out a website or you accept money for, to walk a dog for your neighbor. It doesn't have to be this big formal thing. You're technically exchanging services for money or a product for money. So that's doing business. And a business license is required for that wherever you are located. If you are thinking more strategically, you probably have either some cash flow or maybe you have some reserves that you're using to actually launch your business, or maybe you have a product-based business or are looking to have a brick and mortar, something that has like a little more risk, a little more upfront cost involved. You probably are going to want to start with something more formal, like getting into the LLC versus corporation versus a nonprofit. Like, what are your options in terms of formal business entities, which do require filing paperwork with the state, not just with your local city or county. And so I think that is the point where you want to have a conversation with both a lawyer and with a CPA, because a CPA can help you run your numbers based on what your total income is. So a lot of folks start their business while still working a full-time job. And that is something where, a lawyer isn't going to know what income you're bringing in from your full-time job. They may just say, like, from a risk assessment, you've got a brick and mortar, somebody slips and falls, you're screwed. So like, let's go ahead and make sure we've got that LLC in place. You have your lease in the name of the LLC, and you've got business insurance that's covering like that actual physical space if anybody slips and falls. Versus if it's an online business, there's other types of risks certainly involved in that, but there's not kind of that hard potential cost there. And so I think just knowing at what point it makes sense to do those, because once you form those things, you do have to continue to pay the fees to the state, pay the fees locally, pay your taxes in order to keep up those entities. So a lot of times when folks say like, start with all the things first, that doesn't actually work for a lot of people, especially if they do not have access to enough money or cash flow to both launch and maintain those things. So that's part of the practical considerations that I take into account when we're having those conversations about like, what does it mean to become a legit business? What do you really need to do right now versus what could you revisit in 3 months or 6 months or at the end of the year? And then ongoing, throughout the business life cycle, because it's not stagnant, it's fluid. Things shift, they change. The same tax strategy you have at the beginning may not make sense a year or two in, or if a pandemic hits and your business needs to shut down, you may need to shift gears there too. So those are just some of the many different factors that I think we need to kind of ground this in some practicality too.
I love it. And we just want to make sure, entrepreneurs, that you are too legit to quit. Thought I'd throw that MC Hammer, joking there, but we're serious though. All right, so I'm going to pass this back on to Brittany. Again, thank you, coaches, so much for that amazing information. And again, folks, please show your appreciation in the chat, and definitely please sign up for your coaching session today. These ladies are waiting.
Thank you so much, Daisha. All right, we are right on top of the hour. This was wonderful. I know there were some questions in the chat that we didn't get to. The good news is you can meet with all these wonderful ladies one-on-one. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Joy, Nicole, Viri, Elaine, Dee, Daisha, Meredith, everyone. And thank you all entrepreneurs for coming. We'll see you soon.